slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I think a lot of marathon runners neglect strength training. I do think that if you're a marathon runner and you're trying to get faster, it doesn't matter if even if you're training for you're in high school and you're training for the 1600, 800 meter and 1500 or and 3200 meter, or you're training for a marathon. Strength training is absolutely essential. Okay, you have to strengthen the core muscles of the body, work on your hip flexors to strengthen those, because especially in the longer events, the more stress is being placed on the body, because it's for like the 10-mile distance, half marathon, and marathon, there's so much stress that's being placed for such a long period of time that strength training, I think, definitely plays a part. So strength training for marathon runners and avoiding injuries, that's another thing. You know, if you do strength training, I don't think you need to be in the gym more than once per week. Focus more. You can focus on lighter repetitions or lighter weights with higher repetitions, but at times you can still focus also on heavier weights. I did receive a question by Run the Planet. He's got a great channel. Definitely check him out. He's a 3:10 marathoner, highly disciplined athlete himself, and definitely is on his way to breaking 3 hours. But he asked, what do you think about hitting the gym with a new leg routine just 3 or 4 weeks out from a marathon? And basically, is there any benefit available in such a short time? Is it too much of a risk with delayed onset muscle soreness? I always find it too much. If I do too much gym or squats heavy, it takes a good week to get over the session, and with a routine, it usually takes longer. Yeah, absolutely. I've experienced this too. Run the Planet. This is I wouldn't recommend doing a leg routine just 3 or 4 weeks out from a marathon. I would recommend starting your strength training routine at the very beginning of your training. And again, not being in the gym any more than once a week. You know, you're not in there to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, you just focus on strengthening the core, strengthening your upper body, doing push-ups, sit-ups, planks. And you can do that practically any day of the week and not being in the gym. But focusing on your leg routine, as you mentioned, focusing on your quads and working on your hamstrings and your calves, those particular areas of the body that a lot of times, and I've experienced it too, will cramp up during the race. These are things that, when it comes to running a faster marathon and avoiding injuries, you want to definitely take seriously. But I wouldn't recommend starting a strength training routine 3 or 4 weeks out from your goal marathon. As you mentioned too, it does take, once you've stopped doing strength training, it does take about a week. Sometimes it varies from athlete to athlete, but sometimes it takes several days to up to a week, and sometimes a little bit longer to recover from all of that time spent doing strength training. It's any type of doing squats and burpees and all these other types of activities, kind of aesthetics, things that will help you maintain your form when you're running at faster paces. But you also have to be strategic about what you're doing too. I've been in discussions with athletes that do, strength training like two to three times a week. Of course, it depends on what the athlete's doing. If you're a long distance runner, you're already placing an enormous amount of stress and building up a lot of inflammation throughout your week training. But on top of that, if you're also including strength training and you're overexerting yourself, those are things you really have to be aware of. And again, these are all the little fundamentals that go into being a successful marathon runner. I definitely think that following a strength training routine, whether you're a long distance runner or a mid distance runner, is absolutely vital if you want to be a faster middle to long distance runner. But I wouldn't recommend starting, like I mentioned with Run the Planet, doing a strength and leg routine 3 to 4 weeks out from a goal marathon. If you now, it's different if you've focused on, as I always mention in other videos, focused on an easy aerobic base building phase of about 4 to 6 weeks, running easy mileage, strengthening your tendons, strengthening your ligaments, muscles, getting those strengthened so that, again, you lessen the likelihood you're going to get injured, or and again, you've started training, laying that foundation of mileage first so that you can start doing those faster workouts on the track or on the roads. And then after I would even really not start doing strength training until maybe about 3 weeks into a marathon buildup. Okay, first give yourself some time to build that aerobic fitness first. I think if anything, before you start doing strength training, do planks, do sit-ups and push-ups, those types of activities, so that again, you're kind of just introducing some light strength training exercises before you start doing squats, bench press, box jumps, sled drills, those types of activities. Those more explosive activities, those step-up drills when you're jumping up on the box with maybe 5-pound dumbbells on each hand, where you're focusing on your form, pumping your arms, lifting your knees each time you step up on the box, okay? Those are the types of activities you want to start working into your marathon training routine after, and not before, but after you've built that foundation of mileage first. But I think that, like what Run the Planet mentioned, doing a leg routine, doing that type of strength training 3 or 4 weeks out from a marathon, sometimes, not always, but can be a risk to how you're going to feel going into the race. Okay, I think if you do it properly and you have a plan in place and you start doing your strength training earlier on in your buildup, then I think you can continue to potentially do some leg workouts up to about 3 or 4 weeks out. But be mindful of that. Don't try to go overboard if you're doing that. If you've been strength training throughout your buildup and you don't just jump into a leg routine 3 or 4 weeks out from your marathon, that's different. Okay, again, you've given yourself time to adapt to not only your physiological training on the track or on the roads, but you've built, over several months, you've built that strength and that foundation of being in the gym once per week, and doing those, push-ups and sit-ups, planks, crunches, those types of activities throughout your week on top of your mileage. I think that's a different and a more economical, more optimal plan of action versus just jumping into a leg routine workout 3 or 4 weeks out from your marathon. That's definitely one way to potentially get injured, because again, you're just jumping into that and expecting yourself to adapt to that in such a short amount of time. Again, 28 days is what Dr. Joe Vigil in his book Road to the Top states it takes for the body to adapt to what you're throwing at it. So again, I can't stress that enough, especially when it comes to the marathon distance or any distance. If you're trying to sustain goal race pace, you have to first adapt to each specific intensity. When I was in college, we would do Jack Hazen would have us doing repeat miles, and again, it was based, and this is for cross country, and he would base it off of Dr. Joe Vigil's training philosophy when he was coaching at Adams State University. We would start off doing 6 1-mile repetitions on the grass at 85% of our best mile time. So I would usually start off, at that time, my mile time was around 4:20. My best mile time was around 4:22, 4:20, around that range. So we would always, I still remember it, we would start off at 5:05. I would start off at 5:05. Okay, or other athletes that were slower or faster started off slightly faster, slightly slower. We would do that for 3 weeks. Okay, again, it's going to vary. It's usually around 28 days, but what Coach Hazen would have us do, we would do that for 3 weeks, adapt to that specific intensity. Then he would move us to, we went from 85% to 92%. And then we would do that for 3 weeks. Do mile repeats on the grass at 92%. Then we moved to 96%, did that for 3 weeks, and then we went into our taper phase. So again, there has to be a strategic plan in place, not only for your physical training, but also for that strength training as well. Don't just jump into it. Don't be do very light strength training at the very beginning, and then gradually you can increase your reps, maybe increase the weight you're lifting as well. But again, always focus on the explosive activities, explosive type workouts, also form workouts that will help you to hold your form for a longer period of time and break down less in your race, so that again you can sustain that goal race pace that you're aiming for and pretty much handle anything that your competition is going to throw at you in the race. Okay, if there's surges, you've done your fartlek training where you've practiced speeding up and slowing down, you've trained over hills, you've done your strength training, you've done your speed sessions, your tempo runs, your long runs, you've done everything else. But strength training, without a doubt, is vital. Okay, strength training for marathoners, one of the best obviously benefits of strength training is that you can avoid injuries. You strengthen those muscles, tendons, ligaments of the body. You don't just rush into training. You have more of a long-term vision. You're much more patient with your build-up, just as you are with your physical training. If you do all that properly, you're going to set yourself up for success. So I hope that answers your question, Run the Planet. Continue the superior work that you're doing. Again, all of you that are viewers of my channel, check out Run the Planet. He's got a great YouTube channel himself. I'll leave his link to his video, his YouTube channel below. So definitely check him out. He's doing a great job. He's also followed one of my plans, done very well. Ran 3 hours and 10 minutes, and he's working on breaking 3 hours. I definitely know he's well on his way to doing that. So thanks so much for all of your support. Thanks for watching my videos. Please like and share them, and check out the resources below these videos in the description or in the pinned comment, or on RunDreamAchieve.com, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.